Hello, everyone. Dark Geyser here, welcoming you back to the next installment of my Space Engineers Survival series. I want to thank everyone for joining me yet again, and I've gotten a tremendous amount of work done off camera, so why don't we get right into it? At this end of our crawler, which I'm going to have to come up with a name for the damn thing. It just occurred to me it's a vehicle and it has to have a proper name. If anyone has any suggestions for proper names, preferably things that are not so vulgar that you can't say them in front of your parents, then I would appreciate it. Please go ahead and leave those in the comments for me. I've discovered a few things since my last recording, the first of which is that signals from antennas will transfer through rotors. This was not a given primarily because I know that some controls from a control seat, for instance going to a wheel set, will not transfer through a rotor. So you can't sit in a cockpit and have a set of wheels on the opposite end of a set of rotors and then control them. Not sure why, obviously a flaw there somewhere, and I believe that there are mods that will get around this problem. However, I was very pleased to find out that antennas do not fall under this category, so my antenna being on the other end of a rotor will work very well. And I have this set up primarily because I wanted the antenna to be able to fold down under circumstances where I might be in the process of getting shot at. I have also gone ahead and decided that I am indeed going to install some solar panel arrays so that I might be able to hopefully recharge my batteries while my rover is just sitting and mining or sitting and refining ore. I have we're sort of in process with these right now. I'm going to be mounting horizontal rotors on those, and then solar panels are going to go on those. And then of course I'm going to be using ITSY's solar alignment script, which I will be putting in the comments section so that everyone can find that script. The drill arm is nearly finished. As you can see, I think I have a clearer representation of what I was shooting for. The concept, of course, being that the drill head will go on the end of this, and I have one more piston that I have to add. However, gravity being what it is, the last piston in the line is beginning to dip towards the conveyor tubes, and therefore placing a piston on the end of it is going to cause that piston block to clash with the conveyor block. So I'm probably going to have to go ahead and tip the thing all the way up to 90 degrees or possibly a little more in order to open up that gap there so that I can place that last piston, and then I can put the rotor head on the end of that, and then of course I need to finish welding up all of the pistons. I have done a couple of mining runs while I was off camera, one of which was for nickel. I have been relying strictly on stone and the fact that stone now gives a small amount of nickel through the refinery process, but up until last night I had not actually mined for nickel specifically, and I was needing enough of it for motors that I had to go ahead and actually go on an active quest for it. I managed to locate some nickel. I also managed to locate some magnesium, which was within a few meters, and that made me very happy. So I went ahead and mined up some magnesium, which is in the process of being refined as we speak, so that now I can build some guns and put some defensive turrets on my crawler. I have most of my refining process all set up and ready to go. As you can see, the sorting block up at the top is turned off, and that's basically keeping the stone that I managed to grab with the nickel and the magnesium trapped in the large cargo container until such time as everything else has been refined, and then I'll go ahead and I'll run the stone through. I have installed one of the build and repair systems, but up until this moment I've only used it, I've turned it on and tested it just to make sure that everything is working correctly. It works great when it comes to welding up steel plate and other things that I know that I may have missed a plate or two or a block or two. One of the problems with working on a large project is the fact that if you don't happen to weld all of the blocks and then you put something down in front of it and that gets welded, well, then you might wind up with some shall we say, questionable architecture, or something that may not be entirely welded and therefore may not be entirely stable. I did manage to get the wheel sets put on, the exterior wheel sets, I should say, on both sides. This set happened to go very well, and as you can see in the distance, I took the liberty of just going ahead and grinding down all of my refining processes and so forth. Schlepping everything back and forth was just becoming way too tedious. So I went ahead and ground all that down except for one remaining battery and a couple of wind turbines, and I transferred everything over here. I've also gone on at least a couple of ice runs so that I could generate some ice and generate some hydrogen. I did run the hydrogen engine for a few minutes. It does go through ice like nobody's business, but it's great at recharging the batteries to keep everything running until such time as I get an alternate power source, that is. And as you can see, I have quite a bit of welding yet to go. I have two connectors installed currently. One of them goes straight into the hydrogen-oxygen generator, and the other one comes down here and goes into the large cargo container that I had set up. I had to make a slight adjustment here in order to make all of this work correctly, but it seems to be working fine now. I have a small cargo container there. Everything offloads into that, and then this sorter is designed to pull everything out of the miner and just stuff it into the cargo container. So that one is very indiscriminate, and it drags everything. I've installed some ladders and at least my one control seat that I have been using to attempt to align the drilling arm. I have most of my batteries set up. I also went ahead and transferred my survival kit, and that was primarily so that I would have a respawn point. I've had a couple of moments where I either ran out of hydrogen or I was flying at a high rate of speed, and I smacked into something solid and nearly died, and not really into the whole dying thing without a respawn point. Now, as you can see from here, I've had a bit of trouble getting my wheels to place, and that's primarily because of the fact that I am operating on a slope here. And so these three wheel sets, when I placed them, I got warnings that said that the wheels would not place. It also occurred to me that I have several wheels, because of the fact that I started with a landing gear, I have several wheels that are not in contact with the ground, and I was afraid that if I just went ahead and ground away the landing gear and just dropped the vehicle, I was afraid that I would have way too much breakage. So I mounted some pistons in the corners, and these are on their own group, and these are known as my piston jacks. And I have run these to the point where they are just in contact with the ground. And so my next order of business, I'm going to grind away this landing gear and the block above it so that the crawler is sitting on the jacks. And then I'm going to reverse all of the jacks, and then I will be sitting on the wheels. One of the problems with that is the fact that, again, I'm on a slope, and so I don't think that my parking brake is going to work, particularly because my flyer is up there connected, and we've already had the discussion of how the P key and parking brakes and so forth, they don't necessarily work and play well with each other. So what I am going to attempt to do, and this is the very old school way of dealing with this problem, I'm going to attempt to put down some chocks, and that basically means I'm going to put down some armor blocks for the purposes of attempting to get my wheels to stop, and that looks like it's clipped into the wheel just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna try that, and hopefully nothing explodes. Now, wheel sets themselves do have a control on them that you can drag onto your hotbar that deals with turning, basically setting the wheel locks or manually setting the handbrake, and I'm not entirely sure that I trust that system. So we're going to have to see, am I out of, yes I am. Okay, I was wondering if that was going to work. Well, here we go. And the primary reason why I wanted the antenna put on was because of the fact that in order to set these pistons, I needed to be able to control them remotely. I do not have a remote control unit on the Rover, but then again, controlling them through the terminal was working just fine. So now everything is sitting on the pistons, and we're going to go ahead and do a massive save of the game just to make sure that I don't completely crush something. And now we see how this is going to work. Oh, Clang. Oh, okay. Clang takes over. Everything lifts off the ground, and then it all comes back. Alrighty. That was more than a little nerve-wracking. Now let's get rid of this light armor block. And the main reason that I'm doubling down on some of these armor blocks is because I don't know anything about what the structural integrity is on these. And I have no idea if I have to worry about whether or not the Rover is just going to roll right over them and crush them. So, and it occurs to me that this set is not going to work terribly well, primarily because they're clipped into the tire and I'm getting ready to bring them downward. So rather than doing this, and hopefully this won't cause us any problems. Please don't cause us any problems. Okay, we're fine there. We're going to do this instead. Okay. I really am going to have to stop dropping like that. Alrighty, here we go. We are going to use our inventory key. We grab our remote access. We go ahead and grab our static grid. And we have our piston jacks. And I am just going to go ahead and reverse all of the pistons. They're set at different lengths, and I think I even have a couple of them set at different velocities because I had to run them out longer. So we're going to go ahead and reverse these. And then we're going to turn them on and see what we get. Okay, everything is coming down. Coming down. The acid test is whether or not everything is actually going to stay where it belongs or whether or not it's going to roll down the hill and crush me to death. Everything appears to be working just fine. Although things are beginning... Okay, that is just the... I think that's just the wheels settling into their travel. That's the strength of the wheel sets. And this one appears to be stuck at 2.9. So we're going to turn that off. Jack number 1. Now, which one of these is... Oh, okay, the head came off of this one. So that might be my problem. Be willing to bet that this is it. Nope, that's jack number 2. Which means that this is probably jack number 1. And I think the end of it's buried in the ground. Yep, that's jack number 1. We're going to leave that off. And I'm pretty sure that something's going to explode here in a minute. So we are going to take a chance. Okay. There we go. Yeah, the piston head had mounted itself into the ground. That's why everything was coming downward. so far. The piston head had mounted itself into the ground, and so it was attempting to pull the entire crawler downward. And why is my crawler going the other way? Okay, so and again, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we shall. Okay, that appears to be working. All right. I am absolutely not opposed to the old school brute force solutions to things if they work. I am not a fancy type of person. One of the reasons that hammers have had roughly the same shape for the last 1,000 years or more is because, hey, they work, don't mess with it. Now, one of the things that I have to do, because I have these 3 wheel sets that do not have wheels on them, I'm going to have to fix this problem. Okay, so now we add a piston head. I don't think I have any large steel tubes, so I don't think I can weld this up. Oh, hey, guess what? I've got just enough stuff to make that work. Okay, so now this is... Why are we getting the advanced rotor on this thing? Advanced rotor 2. Interesting. And yet when I come up here, we get piston jack 2. How odd. Okay. Well, what we're going to do, tell you what we're going to do for you and you alone. Okay, piston jack 2. We're going to set this so that the maximum distance, I don't think 2.5 meters will do it, so we're going to set this for 5 meters. We're going to go ahead and reverse it. And up she goes. Okay, now, again from our remote access, we open our terminal. We go to our wheel suspension, and these are going to be the ones, if the add wheel button is grayed out, then that means that it has a wheel on it. That is not working. That is not working. There we go. There's one of them. Okay, so the other 2 are obviously still too low. So we're going to come down, and actually I think I can do all of this remotely. And I'm pretty sure that that was piston jack 2. So we're going to... That one is that... No, piston jack 2 is the one I had over there. Interesting. Okay, hold on. This is piston jack 3. Okay. So piston jack 3. Going to set the maximum distance on this one at 5 meters as well. Go ahead and reverse it. You can see it coming down over here. And everything begins coming up. And I probably have set these way too high, just in the interest of brevity. Now, that works. And that works. Now, piston jack 2. I can reverse, and that comes down. Piston jack 3. I can reverse, and that comes down. And now I, of course, have to weld up all of this mess. I will probably leave the piston jacks on the rig for now, at least, primarily because if I have a wheel get shot off in the future, then I have a feeling that these things are going to come in very handy. However, now these are completely irrelevant, so I'm going to remove those and replace them with another set. There we go. And now we come over and remove these as well. Oh. Important safety tip, ladies and gentlemen. You can be killed by being rolled over by armor block grid. Just something that you should be aware of for the future. Why can I not? Oh, there it is. Okay. Get back all my stuff. Stupid engineer. So now we're going to have to make sure that doesn't happen again by making sure that I'm not standing under it when it falls. Most problems in life can be solved by a simple application of not being stupid. So now I've got the extra set of wheels. I've got most of my runners out, or this hull that the wheels are attached to. I think I have enough battery power to move the thing. I know that the wheel sets actually do require power to move, and the more, I believe, the more power and the more strength you have applied to them, now why am I having, oh, my dampeners are off. Ah, wrong button. Well, there we go. It's going to be that kind of a day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's come back here and get ourselves healed up. I again wanted to thank the subscribers and my viewers that are making recommendations with regards to mods and so forth. The Easy Inventory mod is absolutely wonderful. So I again sing the praises of my viewers and my subscribers and those that comment on my videos, and I thank you very much for your support. I think I'm going to end this here. My plan for the next time is to have the thing set in such a way that I'm hopefully going to have it mobile, and then I'm going to be able to give a demonstration of how it moves, assuming that it moves, and how well the drill setup is going to work, and how the drill is going to work in conjunction with the miner. I will probably have to tear my miner down and reset it so that instead of plunging straight down, it's going to be able to fly downward at a 45-degree angle. That's the angle I have my drilling arm at right now, and that's as steep an angle as I want the drilling craft to have to move to. Anything steeper than that, and I'm essentially standing it on its nose, and then I'm running the risk of flipping it over. So again, thank you all very much for watching. I do appreciate your comments, and I read them all, and I try to respond to them whenever possible. Likes are appreciated, subscriptions doubly so. This is Darkeyser signing off. Thank you for watching.